You are not stuck. You are not broken. You are not lazy. You are overstimulated. And I need you to hear this clearly, because the moment you stop blaming yourself, something begins to loosen inside you. You've been trying to think your way out of a nervous system problem. You've been trying to motivate a body that is already running on emergency power. So of course you feel stuck. Your system is not refusing growth. It's refusing overload. Look at your life for a second. Not the highlight version. The real one. The constant pings. The endless tabs open in your mind. The pressure to respond, to keep up, to stay informed, to stay available. Even rest comes with a soundtrack of guilt. And your brain has been doing its job. Scanning, checking, preparing, predicting. It's not a character flaw. It's a survival skill that got stuck in on. That's why you can sit down to do something important and suddenly feel tired, foggy, or numb. Not because you don't care. Because your body is trying to save you from one more demand. When you're overstimulated, your system starts protecting you in quiet ways. Procrastination, distraction, scrolling, zoning out, overthinking. Those aren't moral failures. They're signals. They're your system saying, too much, too fast, too long. And here's the part most people miss. You don't get your motivation back by attacking yourself. You get it back by creating safety inside yourself. Motivation is not a whip. It's a response. It shows up when your system feels, I can handle this. When you feel, I'm not in danger. When your mind trusts your body again. So if you feel stuck, don't ask, what's wrong with me? Ask, what's been relentless? Ask, what have I been carrying without noticing? Maybe you've been carrying emotional weight that no one sees. Being the strong one. Being the responsible one. Being the person who holds it together, even when you're quietly unraveling. Maybe you've been carrying other people's moods, other people's needs, other people's expectations. Maybe you've been carrying the invisible pressure to be inspiring, productive, pleasant, fine. And the truth is, a human being can only carry so much before the system pulls the emergency brake. That brake doesn't always feel dramatic. Sometimes it feels like emptiness. Like, I don't even know what I want. Sometimes it feels like irritability. Like everything is too loud, too bright, too much. Sometimes it feels like confusion, because your mind is moving but your body won't follow. And you try to fix it the way the world taught you. Push harder. Plan more. Optimize more. Hustle your way out. But pressure cannot heal pressure. You cannot force your way into clarity. Clarity is a state that appears when the noise lowers. When your nervous system finally stops bracing. When your attention isn't being pulled in 10 directions at once. Think about the last time you felt truly clear. Not hyped. Not manic, not desperate, just clear. That kind of clarity usually happens after stillness, after a walk, after a quiet morning, after a moment where you weren't being watched, measured, compared. That's not an accident. Your mind is not meant to solve life in a storm. And yes, the world is a storm right now. The speed, the outrage, the constant updates, the more. Your phone alone can flood you with more input than your ancestors received in a week. And your nervous system can't tell the difference between information and danger. It only knows intensity. It only knows volume. So it reacts accordingly. So let's stop calling it laziness. Let's call it what it is, overload. And overload has a solution. Not a harsh one, a human one. Here is the first shift. Stop trying to fix yourself and start listening to yourself. Because when you listen, you regain choice. And choice is where power returns. If you can notice, I'm overwhelmed, you can begin to respond differently. You can stop piling more on top. You can stop treating your exhaustion like a personal failure. Here is the second shift. Reduce input before you demand output. That's the opposite of what most people do. Most people demand output to earn rest. But the system doesn't work that way. Rest is not the reward. Rest is the requirement. When you reduce input, noise, conflict, endless content, you create space. And in space, your mind starts to sort itself out. Your body starts to exhale. Your shoulders drop. Your eyes soften. You come back online. You don't have to disappear from the world. You just have to stop letting the world live inside your nervous system every second of the day. You can be informed without being flooded. You can be caring without being consumed. You can be ambitious without being harsh. That is a skill, and you can build it. Now listen, I'm not telling you to do 100 things. I'm telling you to do one thing consistently. One small change that signals safety to your system. Because safety creates clarity, and clarity creates movement. Here is your one thing for today. Pick one short window, 10 minutes, where you remove stimulation on purpose. No scrolling, no background video, no news, no multitasking, just 10 minutes of quiet presence. You can sit, you can stare out a window, you can breathe slowly, you can make tea and only make tea. The goal is not productivity. The goal is telling your system, nothing is chasing me right now. And when you do that, notice what happens. At first, you might feel restless. That's normal. Restlessness is often the withdrawal symptom of constant stimulation. Your brain has been trained to expect input. Silence can feel unfamiliar, even unsafe. But if you stay for a few minutes, something shifts. The noise lowers. Your thoughts become less sharp. You start to sense what you actually feel beneath the buzzing. That's where the real information is. That's where your life begins again. Because the truth is, you are not unmotivated. You are misdirected by pressure. Your energy is stuck in survival patterns, scanning, bracing, comparing, preparing. And that uses the same fuel you need for creativity, for focus, for courage. So when survival is active, creation goes offline. Not because you're weak, because your system is wise. This is why some of the most capable people feel stuck the most. They are smart enough to see every possible outcome. They care enough to carry too much. They are responsible enough to keep going even when their body is begging for a pause. And eventually, the body wins. It always does. Not to punish you, to protect you. So imagine this. What if your stuckness is actually the start of your return? What if it's the moment your system says, we are not doing it like this anymore? What if the pause is not a collapse, but a course correction? You don't need to become someone else. You need to come home to yourself. And coming home starts with gentleness, not force. Let's make this practical. If you want your motivation back, do not hunt for it in intensity. Don't wait for the perfect mood. Don't wait for inspiration to strike. Build a simple environment where inspiration can breathe. Here are 3 tiny rules that change everything. Rule 1. Start smaller than your ego wants. Your ego wants a transformation. Your nervous system wants a safe step. So choose the smallest version of the task. Not the whole project, 5 minutes. Not the whole plan, 1 page. Not the whole life, today. Rule 2. Remove one source of noise before you add one more obligation. One less app. One less argument. One less late-night spiral. That's not weakness. That's leadership. Rule 3. Make your body feel included. Touch your chest and breathe. Put your feet on the ground. Let your shoulders drop. Your body is not a vehicle you drive. It's a partner you must reassure. Do this for a week, and you will not feel perfect, but you will feel different. You will feel clearer. You will feel steadier. And then motivation returns, not as a rush, but as a quiet yes. A yes you can trust. You are not stuck. You are overstimulated. And the fact that you can name it means you are already moving. Stay here. We'll keep going, calmly, clearly, and without pressure. What you are experiencing right now is not just a moment of insight. It is the beginning of a different way of relating to yourself. And that matters more than any quick breakthrough, because real change rarely arrives as a dramatic turning point. A small internal shift, a soft recalibration, a sense that something inside you has finally been heard. This space you are entering is not about fixing your life overnight. It is about creating the conditions where change becomes possible without force, where your system doesn't have to defend itself anymore. Think of this as a return to alignment, with your own rhythm, your own timing. When your nervous system begins to feel safer, your decisions change. Your focus changes. Even your desires begin to shift. You stop wanting things that only serve distraction, and you start wanting what actually nourishes you. This is where calm becomes powerful. Calm is not passivity. Calm is regulation. Calm is clarity. And clarity is the foundation for any form of abundance that lasts. When your system is no longer in survival mode, it can finally receive. Ideas land differently. Opportunities feel less overwhelming. You begin to trust yourself again. And this trust matters, because the next phase of this journey is not about doing more. It is about doing what matters from a steadier place, from a grounded state, from internal permission rather than urgency. You don't need to know the entire path right now. You only need to stay present with the shift that is already happening. The fact that you are listening to this means something in you is ready for a different pace, a different quality of attention, a different relationship with effort. This is not about becoming someone else. It is about becoming more yourself, without the noise. In the episodes that follow this one, the focus will gently move from understanding to integration, from insight to embodiment. We will explore how calm reshapes your choices, how clarity reshapes your direction, and how a regulated system opens the door to a more sustainable form of abundance. Abundance here does not mean constant success or endless positivity. It means having enough inner space to respond to life rather than react to it. Enough energy to move forward without burning yourself out. Change that lasts is subtle. It happens when your inner world becomes less hostile, when your thoughts soften, when your body no longer braces against the future. In that state, motivation does not feel urgent or dramatic. It feels natural, almost obvious. You know what to do next, not because you forced an answer, but because the answer finally had room to surface. This is why this format moves slowly, why it leaves space between words. Because space is where regulation happens, where your system reorganizes and new patterns quietly replace old ones. As you continue listening over time, you may notice that you feel less drawn to constant stimulation, less dependent on noise. This is not withdrawal. It is refinement. Your system is learning discernment again. So let this be the beginning of a series of small, steady recalibrations. Moments where you return to yourself, where you notice your state before you judge your behavior, where you choose regulation over pressure, clarity over urgency, presence over performance. You don't need to rush ahead. There is nothing to catch up to. This is not a race. It is a return. For now, stay with the feeling of being a little more settled inside yourself. Even if you cannot fully name it yet, that is enough. This is how change actually begins. Quietly, steadily, from within. If this feels right, you can continue this journey here.